Hey friends, it's Michaela. Welcome back to my channel. I cannot believe it's already been halfway through 2025, and I'm really excited to share with you today my progress with my 2025 planners. If you're new here to the channel, I'm Michaela. I run a small stationery and print studio here in Texas where I create risograph prints, stickers inspired by my Chinese American heritage. I have been seeing a lot of mid-year Techo Kaigis, and I was definitely inspired to go ahead and record this video since we are in July, so we really are smack dab in the next half part of the year. I think this is a perfect time to share where I am and how I've been doing on my planner journey. Today's video will definitely delve into what's been working for 2025, what's been not working for 2025, and what I'm kind of thinking and excited about for next year, 2026. Because y'all know that I have been already thinking about my planner for next year and what I'm wanting to do. Before we get into it, I wanted to share that as of June, I am now on Patreon, and we are now in our second month of my Patreon. And so for the month of July, I have created a risograph print club where you can get either risograph prints, postcards, or stickers, depending on the tier. To give y'all a little bit of quick backstory is I wanted to start my Patreon to give my audience another opportunity to have early access to prints, monthly shop discounts, digital downloads, sneak peeks, and exclusive behind the scenes content. Memberships start at $1 and then go up to $25 to encompass all of my print club. And I'm really excited to showcase my July print. So here's my July print. It was inspired by the Chinese zodiac, but I wanted to make it into stamps, and it's a 2-color risograph print and exclusive for the month of July. So if you sign up any day during the month of July, then you will get this print if you sign up for my print club. If you sign up for one of my lower tiers, you can get this postcard, which has the same design, but it's in a smaller format, and you can write on the back, and it is all risograph printed by myself. Lastly, a little mini bonus print that you can get for any of my physical tier rewards. You will get this. Along with that, I also offer a digital tier where you can also get digital wallpapers and little downloads from myself. Also, here's a little peek at what I did for June. And know that people on my digital tier get access to my secret shop where you can shop these exclusively for 2 months before they go out to the public. I worked really hard on these prints, and I'm so excited that y'all get to see a little bit more behind the scenes of what I get to do for this. Please know that a lot of my content will still be free, including my YouTube videos, newsletters, and Instagram content, but print releases and shop updates patrons will get early access to. Sign up in the link below, and be sure to sign up on desktop to avoid extra fees by Apple. These have been so fun to make, and I can't wait to share more on what I'm working on in the future. Now let's get into the video. All right, so let's get into the planners that I plan on still using through the rest of 2025. I will peek at the main planner that I was originally going to use, which was the Hemlock and Oak, and so we'll come back to that. The planner that I have primarily been using is the Sterling Ink passport size planner. And so this has been the planner that I have actually moved into probably starting in March. I began feeling like this was gonna be my weekly planner. I really, really wanted the purple Hemlock and Oak to work, but I ended up realizing that I really missed the paper of Sterling Ink. I really needed portability, and the purple planner just wasn't really working for me. It stayed on my desk the whole time, and I found myself not really wanting to open it because it was so clunky and bulky. The other thing was that I had so much extra space that I just didn't end up using for it, and I just was left feeling like things were left empty. And so I really did like the smaller amount of space that I was given, and I could work within that range without completely either overbooking myself or giving myself a limit to what I could fill in my day. The other thing that I started doing was writing using sticky notes for my daily to-dos, and then using my weekly planner as daily to-dones. I would write my to-do list on a sticky note, of the things that I aim to get done. And then I would actually end up filling in the things that I actually finished in my weekly planner. And that really helped me feel very accomplished. So it was sort of a record of the things that I finished without feeling like I had so many unchecked boxes throughout each day in the week. That system definitely was working better than me having so much extra space, so much space that I wasn't completely filling out or completing, and definitely made me feel more accomplished by the end of the week. This planner was originally supposed to be my work planner, and I was a little sad that I didn't use it to as much of my advantage, because I was really only working a part-time job that I would go in maybe about once or twice a week. And so there was a lot of left empty space for me to be using it for. And I also still really liked the paper, and I was just using terrible pens to fill it in. And I just felt like it wasn't getting used to its full advantage. A feature that I was also really missing from the purple planner that Sterling Ink does also have was the goal setting spreads that I feel like Catherine with Sterling Ink does really well. I felt like my goals were both written really pretty in my past planners, and so I was really wanting to do that again in the Sterling Ink again. Additionally, I also really liked the quarterly planning spreads. Hemlock and Oak did not have this, and I really, really liked how you're able to see each quarter at a time. And I started filling out upcoming markets and then planning goals per month, per quarter in my Sterling Ink. So there were a lot of really great things that I started to revisit and utilize in Sterling Ink. And that was also why I started moving back to that as my weekly planner. I've also been hoarding washi tape recently. And so for all of my weekly planners, I have been able to get really excited about new washi, and will swatch it out at the bottom of each week. And so that also is a nice little treat that I get to do for myself each week. Keeping with my weekly planning, the next journal/planner that I've been using is the Appointed vertical type journal. And this has given me an opportunity to have a space to put a bunch of brain dumps and weekly tasks before I organize them into my weekly planner. Something that I did start doing probably within the last few weeks was categorize at least the master list that I had that were admin tasks, market prep tasks, projects, and then just personal tasks. I don't have to worry about any kind of structure or specific dates. I'm able to just take a look at my large list and then cherry pick and choose the tasks that I go ahead and get done. It's been a really great tool for definitely the ADHD part in me, where it's really hard for me to time block things and then stick to it. So this is really kind of great to have, where you need everything in one place and you just know you need to get it done that week. I can just refer back to that and finish it at my own pace. The next piece of stationery that I will be taking into the rest of my 2025 is the Hours Research Journal. And this has definitely been my go-to nightly diary journal, whatever you want to call it, where I just write through my thoughts, talk about my day. Something that I've been loving about this journal is that the layout is really encouraging. I love that you can actually see your entire week and then fill in the week as you go. And I truly feel like I'm making progress each day when I fill out each week. The small space, in contrast to normal A5 size journals, helps relieve some of the pressure to fill up the entire page. So what's interesting is that I did try a line a day, but I feel like I typically had a little bit more to say than just 3 sentences per day. And for this, it's more of a limited space, but where I can still feel like I've recapped my day, recapped any highs and lows of my day, but still feel like I've filled it up and finished it out. This has also been a really great spot for me to explore a little bit more of junk journaling. I'm actually not that kind of journaler where I put a bunch of stickers in it, I put a bunch of washi tape, I draw. I typically will just write, and that is very therapeutic and healing for me. I will tend to stick to that, and then if I have time, I will then add in more decoration later on. I've given myself that grace where I don't have to fill out or decorate every single day. As long as I get it done, then that's what counts. There are some spreads that I was really excited about junk journaling, like Little Craft Fest. And so since it was a 3-day event, I was able to spread my junk journaling and slight scrapbooking and photos across the 3 days. So that was really cool. But most days I've usually already written in it, so I don't always have a lot of space to write in it. So another reason for maybe why I would want a little bit larger space in the future. The other thing that I've been doing in this journal that I'm so excited that I've been keeping it up all 6 months through June, and then I'm still going in through July, is the monthly views. And I've been seeing people do this in their hobonichis, and I've admiring their spreads of being able to, one, keep up each day a little doodle, and then two, just like seeing the whole spread finish out as they go. And they've gotten really creative. They've either like done themes or they've used a different ink. And I kind of did a little bit of that, but still kept it really, really simple. It's definitely been more of an exercise and also an encouraging thing as an artist to be able to show up every day and doodle something. It kind of gets you in this rhythm where you start to feel like, oh, I'm making progress, and oh, I'm like, this doodle wasn't so bad, and kind of makes you feel like you're not a terrible artist and that I can just like do something for fun and off the top of my head and not have any pressure that it has to sell or make money or curate towards someone else, that it's really just for me. It's also really cool to think about and remember some of the little memories that encompassed my day. And that's really cool to see as I look through each month after it's been finished. I've also been inspired by people swatching their journals with different inks that they've been doing. So since I've been writing with fountain pen for all of my journaling, the journal actually has a swatch page in the back, which is really cool and encouraging. And so I've been writing a lot with blue ink. That just has been the ink that I've been drawn to recently. And so I've been buying a bunch of blue inks and writing with the same blue ink for a while. I believe the ink that I have inked up right now is I have it here. The Kakimori number 4 I'm still gonna mess it up. Harari. And I love the shape of the bottle too. It's really unique, and a lot of people have talked a lot about the Kakimori inks, and I did get a sample set that I eventually will dig into, but the blue has been really pretty. It's definitely come off a little bit waterier than some of the other inks that I tried. I did try the diamine, and I do think I want to ink that one up next because I do love how saturated it is and it's not as watery. And I feel like that lends more to my taste of inks, but it's also still just really fun to ink up different colors and different blues and seeing how they react to the paper. Speaking to the paper of the R's journal, that is the only one small complaint that I have. I am not a super big fan. I do prefer the Tomoe River paper, and so it's just a little bit toothier for the writing experience, and it's not my favorite. Fountain pen ink in general just bleeds, and I do probably need to start using blotting paper, especially on my monthlies, because I do start to get smudging on different areas, and it gets a little frustrating, especially the little boxes will have smudges on them before I even get to them. And sometimes that works to my advantage, and sometimes it ruins the image. And so when it is to my advantage, I can get creative with the blotches and sometimes work my doodle around the blotch, which is kind of a fun creative exercise. But on the con, it ends up ruining the cute doodle that I might have had on the other side of the drawing. So blotting paper is definitely a thought that I'm good, like verbally reminding myself to do, but I will say that the paper just it's not really doing it for me. We'll have to see how the rest of the year pans out and if I decide I want to use this journal again for next year. A couple other journals that I am still using, but kind of on a more continual basis, but I'll go ahead and mention these here, are the Archer and Olive sketchbook. And so I am still getting through this. I don't typically use a sketchbook like per year because I don't sketch as voraciously as I think some artists do. So I'm just working my way through this one, but ideally when I finish this one, this will change. The other continual notebook that I have been filling up that I did finish out was my therapy book. And so it's just a notebook that I have been using during my therapy sessions. And so this one was a little like flip notebook that I had been using by Dear Kindred Spirit, and I finished this one out this first half of the year, so that was really exciting. I've had like a stock of notebooks that I needed to just like dip back into, and so the therapy notebook that I'm now using is another appointed notebook. This one is okay. I do think I prefer the spiral on the top, just because it feels very like Blue's Cluesy and kind of like investigatory and I don't know, just very jottery, and this feels more journal-y. So I didn't want something where I was like doing a bunch of paragraphs of stuff. It's really just like notes that I take during the session. So this is honestly a little bit overkill in terms of space. I might even put multiple days on it, and so I liked that I could fill a whole day on a page. This has been the one that I've been using that I will continue to use going into the rest of this year, and it might bleed into the next year, so we'll just see. So you might see this again in my lineup for next year. All right, so now we'll be getting into the stationery and notebooks and planners that I will not be finishing out 2025 with. I'm kind of sad and disappointed about this, but I'm also, the realistic thing came to be I was recognizing some of my habits and my preferences. So all of this is obviously a fun little learning journey and what I end up using throughout the year. So the first one, of course, I mentioned prior, was the Hemlock and Oak planner. There were a lot of things that were just kind of not working for me with this planner, and I'm just sad because I liked the color. Also kind of Instagram influenced into it because I got a bunch of ads for it. So it's just kind of disappointing that parts of the planner just weren't working for me. It just was way too constricting, I think, overall. I think there were too many prompts that just weren't really resonating with me. So like there was a beginning part where you had to set out your goals, but it was very prompted about what specific types of like how you were going to accomplish them, and it's just not my style of goal setting. I liked how Sterling Ink has like a complete blank page for you to like vision board, and I would have loved just a little bit more flexibility on that. Additionally, each month also had like a monthly preview and then a monthly recap, and I don't typically do monthly recaps. So in my opinion, I felt like the pages were actually being wasted for the recaps when they could have been used in the back for more like just free-handed note-taking. And I was definitely really disappointed about the number of note pages in the back. I really wanted more to be able to freehand and take notes. I also mentioned this before, but the size was also quite large. It's very heavy. I'll put whatever the weight is up here because I just feel like I'm definitely more of a portability first kind of planner person, especially if I'm needing to work remotely. It's just a little deterring for me personally. I did also mention this too, is that the paper is okay. It does feel fairly like painter ink friendly, but I think I just miss the Tomoe River paper. I also trimmed off and don't use the little page markers that it ended up being way too annoying for me. And I already use butterfly clips to keep my planner open. And I feel like this means that I'd be opening and closing it a lot, and I usually just leave it open. So there's really no reason for little page markers, and they just kind of get in the way. Also, this is just a little nitpick, and the last thing I'll say about it is that it doesn't have rounded corners. Corners get smushed in bags over time, and so when it's been kind of like taken into account by the designer who made these planners, it really counts. And I do think that the hardbound part of the planner helps with that, helps protect the corners, but it does also add to the weight and again, the portability. So I feel like there were some really cute things about this planner. I'm also such like I want to try new planners because I am still on my journey for planner peace, as people have called it. If you really like this planner, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to know like what you really enjoy, and if you're definitely more of a person who likes to follow prompts, yeah, let me know. So the next piece of stationery that I'm not taking into the rest of my year is the Eric Small Things daily tear-off calendar. I do not do well with tear-offs. I don't know why. It could be the size, it could be just it's another thing to do per day. And I had expressed this in my last Techo Kaigi video for the beginning of 2025 that I was like, oh, maybe I'll use it to like write my daily to-dos similar to what I use for the yellow sticky notes. But the fountain pen ink that I wanted to use just completely bled right through it. And I think it is just because the paper feels like it should be fountain pen friendly, but it's just not. And so I could probably just use a marker, but I think just because it's not a sticky type adherence on the back, I have to remember to use it each day. it's just not doing it for me. And it just becomes discouraging when you're like a month behind. And this is just me trying to catch up. I'm always catching up like 3 or 4 days later. And it just becomes discouraging because I just don't tear it off when I'm supposed to. I've also just been keeping the little tear-offs because I feel bad about throwing them away. So I just keep them in the box that it came in. And I think that's just the designer and the hoarding and the lovely packaging part of me. So I also just don't know what to do with that either. Yeah, it was such a cute little calendar and I definitely had to get it as an impulse buy, but I'm just disappointed that it wasn't working for me. So the last piece of stationery that I will not be taking into the rest of my 2025 is the Studio Meggy cat calendar. And this has a bit of an asterisk to it, but I will say it's so pretty, and I still will probably keep flipping the months as I go because I just really enjoy looking at the art. But the fact is that I just keep forgetting to write in it. So the entire calendar just has like nothing in it. I tried like putting appointments in it, but it just ended up becoming redundant. And when I'm already putting my dates in my weekly calendar and on my phone, so there's already 2 places that I'm trying to keep track both digitally and physically. And so having a 3rd place physically to do it just ends up being too much. And so I just end up like forgetting about it. And yeah, it just kind of becomes a problem. Speaking towards the usability of it, the boxes are a little small for my liking when I compare it to the Rifle Paper Company calendar that I was using. I was a little bit more motivated to use that. And it's mainly just because I see it as a piece of artwork. I don't see it as a calendar that I would interact with. I think I just get a little precious about it. And so I do think just design-wise, if the space was a little bit bigger, I might be more motivated to write in it. But I also enjoy a bigger space for art, and I want to be able to see the artwork shine. And so I really am on the fence of like what is best. We'll just have to see. So the little asterisk that I'm speaking of for this calendar is that I am working on my own cat calendar that I'm hoping to launch for 2026. Be on the lookout, follow me on social media, and remember to like and subscribe here on the channel so you won't miss anything about that. That kind of segues into kind of my plans for 2026. And so I do think I want to make a cat calendar. I think that will replace a wall calendar because I do really enjoy seeing a wall calendar and seeing the months go by. But I have to reassess the practicality of how much I'm putting appointments in versus how much I just want to look at the month and see the dates during the month. So we'll see how that all goes. But then the second piece of stationery that I have been eyeing like crazy is the Sterling Ink Common Planner full year A6 size. And so I think that will hopefully solve my size issues. And I did go back and forth, y'all, about should it be A6? Should it be B6? Because when I talk about having a little bit more space, I do feel like the passport size is quite small, but I do really still value and want the portability of it. So I think the A6 will actually be more my portability answer for everything. The other idea and thought that I'm having is that I would like to keep everything in one place. So to transfer most of my journaling to this specific A6 size and utilize the back pages as my daily pages for my journaling and then use the weekly pages for my day-to-day, weekly, and daily planning. That's the thought. We'll see how it goes. So final thoughts for this is that I am giving myself permission to stop using the planners that I didn't use the first half of the month and just left them be. My goal is to simplify down to 1 journal, like I was saying, but maybe it'll end up being 2 because I did really love the Hours journal, even though the paper was okay. So we'll see if I end up with 1 or 2 journals. Lastly, my washi addiction has been incredibly strong. I am loving that I'm getting to utilize it in my weekly spreads. That's just been another thing that I've been having fun with. All right, that's it, y'all. Thank you so much for watching, and let me know in the comments how your year has been going and what's been working for you. Please, again, like and subscribe, and I will definitely see y'all in the next one.